Hey Tennessee, I need you to step up with me now. This is a call to action, and I need everybody that watches this video to help me. I've been working on this in the legislative houses and in the courts, and I can't get it done alone. So I need the people to start performing the least of civic duty here. So what I'm going to ask you, I want you to call 4 state officials. I'm going to list them out and tell you why. I want you to call four of these state officials, not just once. I want you to call them every day until this gets done. And I want you to call them 2 or 3 times a day. So we're talking, 5-10 minutes of your day, 2 or 3 times a day. That's all I'm asking. And I believe that when we do this, government is going to come to heel and start doing what they're supposed to. I know many of you think that phone calls don't work, but let me tell you about a gentleman I know, Philip Kemp. His rights were violated by 2 corrupt judges. And he wanted to remonstrate through his district representative who kept ignoring his phone calls. But he kept pressing, wanting, demanding that his representative meet with him, one of her constituents. And eventually she gave in and agreed that she's going to file a remonstrance on behalf of Mr. Philip Kemp. So I know that if we put the pressure on, that they're going to start doing these things. So here's who I want you to call. We're going to start off with Chief Clerk of the Senate, Russell Humphrey. And in the post-typed text for this video, I'm going to include all the phone numbers and email addresses in there so you can refer back to that. You don't have to write it down while I'm talking. I want you to call Chief Clerk of the Senate, Russell Humphrey. I want you to tell Clerk Humphrey to cease his constructive fraud on the people of this state with the false version of the Tennessee Constitution that is held out to the people on the General Assembly website. That Constitution, that false version, is prepared by the Clerk of the Senate, and Clerk Humphrey knows that it's wrong and he refuses to correct it. So I want you to call him every day and say, did you get it fixed yet? Did you fix the Constitution? Is it correct on the General Assembly website yet? Do it every day, 2 or 3 times a day. Next, I want you to call Speaker of the House, Cameron Sexton. Cameron Sexton is the Speaker, and he is oppressing the right of the people to present petitions and remonstrances by oral address to the House. This is a constitutional right that we have. And this I want to impress upon you how important this is. This is one of the most cited constitutional law books. It was written by an 1883 Michigan Supreme Court justice. And he's talking about this right of petition. And he says, it's a sacred right which at difficult times shows itself in its full magnitude, frequently serves as a safety valve if judicially treated by the recipients, and may give to the representatives or other bodies the most valuable information. It may right many a wrong, and the deprivation of it would at once be felt by every free man as a degradation. And so when government and Speaker Sexton oppress this right, it is a degradation of all free men, and we all need to stand up for this. He went on to say, the right of petitioning is indeed a necessary consequence of the right of free speech and deliberation, a simple, primitive, and natural right. And get this, as a privilege, it is not even denied to the creature in addressing the deity, praying to God. We all pray to God, and God answers our prayers. The Speaker of the House won't even hear our prayers. He sets himself above God, and that is not to be accepted. So I want you to call Speaker Sexton's office and tell him to uphold the people's right in Article 1, Section 23, and to start performing their duty to hear and decide petitions and remonstrances, and to schedule the remonstrance that I presented on May 3rd, 2021, on behalf of citizens from across this state. Next, just like Clerk Humphrey, I want you to call Secretary of State Tre Hargett's office. His office, too, has a false version of the Tennessee Constitution on their website, as well as in the Tennessee Blue Book. And they've had this, at least for the last 2 editions, that it's been wrong in there. And when they came out with the last edition, they already knew that it was wrong. So now it's an intentional constructive fraud. So I want you to call Tre Hargett's office and say, did you get it fixed? Is it done yet? and I want you to call them twice or 3 times a day, every day. And the last one on here, Senator Kerry Roberts. He works as a chair on committees, and he sits in Joint Government Ops as well as in the Judiciary Committee. And Senator Kerry Roberts, talking about judges holding prohibited offices in the Board of Judicial Conduct, said legal experts and members of the bodies don't think that it's an office of trust. It is absolutely an office of trust, the Board of Judicial Conduct, and those judges and chancellors sitting in that prohibited office are in violation of the Tennessee Constitution. It's an unlawful alteration of our form of government. It is not to be tolerated. It is the head of the snake, perpetuating rampant corruption in our courts throughout the state. So I want you to call Representative or Senator Roberts, and I want you to tell him judicial oversight is legislative power, and they need to take that power back, and the Board of Judicial Conduct should be abolished. So I'll have these all what you need to say with these 4 people, their numbers and their email addresses. Email them too, but the phone calls are going to be more effective. If we stand together and we do this consistently until they fix these problems, these unlawful alterations of our government, if we keep the pressure on, we're going to get this fixed, and we're going to start a great healing of this republic. So thank you for taking this time with me. I implore you, stand with me on this, and we'll get this done. My name's John Gentry, candidate for governor 2022. God bless, and in God we trust.